Hello, everybody. Happy Monday. Welcome back to the Fumble Live. So happy you could join us today. We are breaking down all the latest sports updates and sports news that you need to know. Sorry, my phone started playing the sound. I apologize, you guys. Anyway, make sure you subscribe to the Fumble if you want to stay up to date on all the latest sports news. Give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to leave a comment below. And now, intros. I'm Devin Howard. You can find me on Instagram as @DevinHoward.
It's your boy Chris. You can find me everywhere at CK2K.
I'm Jackie Ray. You can follow me on all things social media at Jerry the Fanatic.
It's your girl, Britt Johnson. You can follow me on all social media at I am Britt Johnson. You can't really see it, but I wanted to make sure I shouted out. I got my Dennis Rodman on today, so you know how to represent.
And before we go into it, can I just point out, because I know in the chat y'all were giving him some static, Chris is not wearing a hat. The hairline
There's no hat
showing,
on.
you
No
guys.
hat on. Yep. Just letting it breathe. Yep.
It looks good, Chris. I like the no-hat look. You're rocking it.
Thank you. Looks better on camera than it does in real life, so I'll let it pass.
Got a little filter going on there or something?
Say what?
Got a little filter going on over there?
Look, I got a bunch of them.
I need a filter, especially on a Monday today. Use a filter. You guys, before we get into the need to know news, obviously a big story that broke this weekend is the legal drama that Zion is dealing with. Britt, you're going to be talking about that later in the show with Britt's takes, but it's just worth mentioning right now. The gist of it is that now his former agent is requesting that he admit he received various benefits from Duke and other sportswear brands. So we're going to be getting into that at the end of the show with Britt's takes, so make sure you stay tuned for that. And coming up in Need to Know News, we have some info about where Pau Gasol would like to play his final season. And we're also going to be talking about Michael Jordan and a fight that he almost got in with Mike Tyson, and then some news about the NBA and what their plans are. Chris, do you have anything that you want to tease for social?
We got a little bit of an update after UFC's crowdless performance. It was actually pretty good, but we have somebody who got pretty beat up. Tyler Hero got a new haircut, and the internet hates it. No surprise to anybody. And Shaquille O'Neal drops another pretty hard question to answer with a really cool video, and a lot more coming up on Post Up.
And then Jackie, how about for you at WTF?
Just don't mess with people's money, and we're going to talk about a name that you're probably not even going to guess once thinks he should be in the Hall of Fame, and it's not a name you're going to guess, but try.
And then Britt, I know I mentioned that you're going to be talking about Zion, but is there any other hint that you want to drop for Britt's takes?
Nope, I think we covered it.
Alrighty, I'm going to jump right in with Need to Know News. You guys, let's talk about Pau Gasol. So he says that he would like to play his final season in the NBA with the Lakers. So he planned to come off the bench in Portland this season, but his foot surgery complicated things, and then the team ended up waiving him. And he's contemplated retirement, but he still wants to play for Spain in the Tokyo Olympics, which are now being pushed back until next summer. So he'd like to play one more season in the NBA. So he spoke with Ryan Ward of Clutch Points and said, quote, "It's something that's been on my mind, kind of like the potential of maybe finishing or playing my last year with the Lakers would be great. It's appealing, if you will, but the opportunity never really presented itself in a serious official manner. I have a great relationship and love for Jeannie and the Lakers organization and the city of Los Angeles, which is always going to remain extremely meaningful to me, no matter what, but we'll see." So in order for this to happen, he'd obviously have to prove that he's healthy enough to play with the team. He only played 30 games in the 2018-2019 season. So Chris, I want to ask you a question first. If he does prove that he is healthy enough to play, do you think that the Lakers would consider signing him?
I mean, I don't see why not. Lakers is one of those organizations that, they're all about, the family aspect, especially with Jeannie Buss and all of them up top. I don't see why not. And it also helps when you have LeBron James there. And LeBron James is known for bringing in all the old heads to come on down for their last few years in their career to hopefully get that championship. So I don't see that being too far-fetched to happen. I don't think he'd be playing if he goes to Lakers, but it'd be pretty cool for the fans and for him to be a part of that organization for his last few years or last year.
So, Jackie, how do you think he would do with the Lakers if LeBron is still at the helm? Do you think it would be a good mix? Do you think he'd stay on the bench? What do you anticipate for him on a team like the Lakers?
I mean, I don't think that if he comes to the Lakers, I really don't think it's about him playing. I think it's about the nostalgia of it. We've seen videos surface of Kobe saying, he wouldn't have gotten them those championships without Powell. So I just don't think it's about him playing. I think it's about bringing him home to the place that he loves the most so he could retire. So I think that's it. He'll definitely get some playing time, but that wouldn't be the reason why they brought him back. It would definitely be about the nostalgia aspect of it.
So do you think that he would do it for like a smaller salary, or do you think he'd still expect to receive like a normal salary?
I think he would do it for a smaller salary, especially if he's, injured and he knows, he's going to be hobbling anyway. He's lucky at this point not to be on a walker almost, but so I just think he would love to just be here. So I think he would take the smaller salary. And honestly, even if he doesn't get a lot of playing time, I think with the experience and stuff that he brings, he's going to be an asset to those younger guys anyway, just in some of the things that he would say and whatnot. So yeah, I think he would take a smaller salary, and I still think he would be very useful for the team.
Yeah, it would be kind of nostalgic. It'd be cool to have that come full circle for him. I'm going to jump into our next update. So obviously in The Last Dance, we've been seeing so much about what happened behind the scenes with Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls, but we're not seeing everything. That includes this one kind of tense moment between MJ and Mike Tyson. Apparently, Mike Tyson almost beat him up back in 1988. So they were both celebrating Richard Dent's 28th birthday in Chicago, and Mike Tyson was in the middle of a breakup with Robin Givens, someone who MJ had dated in the past. So Rory Holloway, who is Mike's manager, wrote about this all in his book. It's called Taming the Beast, The Untold Story of Team Tyson, and said that he was asking the server to water down Mike Tyson's drinks because it was obvious that he was getting really, really drunk and really, really aggressive. And so this is what he wrote. Mike stares across the table at Michael Jordan. He says, "Hey, man, you think I'm stupid? I know you effed with my B word." And then he says, "Jordan looks like he's just seen a ghost. I know you messed with her." Mike says, "You can tell me." So there have been various versions of this story that have been told, and they differ in intensity, specifically regarding MJ's reaction to Mike Tyson's kind of like aggressiveness. We've also heard that he was never afraid of Mike Tyson and didn't worry about getting beat up by him. So, Britt, I'm going to ask you first. We all know that MJ was a savage. You did a whole evergreen video about his meanest moments, but do you think that he would be afraid of Mike Tyson if he started going after him?
Of course, who wouldn't be afraid of Mike Tyson? That's just silly. And obviously we also know Michael Jordan, if you came back for him, he wouldn't come, he would not come back at you again. He just wanted to test you. If he tested you, then it's over. Just like everybody said when he played with Charles Oakley, he never said nothing to Charles Oakley because he knows Charles Oakley ain't about that life. So Michael will test you if he feels like he can test you, but if he doesn't, he's not going to do that. He's not an idiot.
Yeah, in the book, it says that he was just desperately trying to leave. He was trying to stay classy, which I think would be hard with someone like kind of yelling at you and testing you like that across the table. So, Chris, how much of this story do you believe? Do you think that MJ really did act like he'd seen a ghost, or do you think that he was like much more confident than we're hearing about here?
Look, man, I believe it because, look, 1988 Mike Tyson was a different beast. Not saying that 2020 Mike Tyson is scary because we saw that video of him out here fighting gray beard and all, but 88 Tyson was different. I could see it being true. I don't know if Michael would completely chicken out. I don't know if he would win either, but I could definitely see him, having that face like he just saw a ghost. When Mike Tyson, Iron Mike is coming at you like, "Yo, I saw you talking to my girl." I can already see it for sure.
Okay, Chris, you're gonna get beat up. You keep making fun of Mike like that. He's gonna find
That's
you.
not making fun. That's how he sound, Mike. That's how he sound.
One more time, Chris. Another impression, please.
Nah, I'm not gonna listen anymore. You're right. Now I'm freaking out. I don't want to have a ghost look on the line. No.
All right. Well, let's get into the final need to know news story. Now, there's kind of a lot of information in here. So obviously, Adam Silver has been working on various strategies and putting together different plans in order to resume the season. But he told players that a return to play decision may not be made until June. According to ESPN, Adam talked about the different options during an NBPA teleconference call on Friday. He focused on strategies and efforts to limit the spread of the disease within the league. Woj revealed that Adam Silver said there are no guarantees as to when and if fans can return to arenas next season, which is something we've been discussing pretty heavily here on the live. He also said that they're leaning towards clumping everyone together in one or two locations. Again, another storyline that we've heard. And the favorites are obviously Orlando and Vegas as the two spots that they're looking into. He also said that if the season does restart, he'd want the playoff series to still be 7 games in each round, and noted that until there's a vaccine or some sort of medication available to prevent people from dying from the virus, the league is going to be dealing with this and assessing how much risk everyone is willing to take. Now, Shaq actually spoke out about the NBA hiatus and said that he feels we should just scrap the entire season. He is not in favor of bringing the season back, and here's why. He said, I think we should scrap the season. Everybody go home, get healthy, come back next year. To try and come back now and do a rush playoffs as a player, any team that wins this year, there's an asterisk. What if a team that's not really in the mix of things all of a sudden wins with the new playoff format? Nobody is going to respect that. So scrap it, worry about the safety of the fans and the people, come back next year. Now, I'm surprised that Shaq has this perspective. He makes a few points that I think are worth talking about. So let's get into it, you guys. I feel like we're going to have some strong opinions from the panel here. Jackie, do you agree with Shaq that if a team that was never a finals contender wins, they won't get the respect that they'd really want after achieving that kind of title?
I mean, so I said with that format that's a possibility that you'd have some no-name team, but they haven't settled in on a format. But I mean, I don't care if there's an asterisk, to be honest with you. I'm just ready to get back to, I don't care if some no-name team comes up through the ranks because, things happen. And, one of the people in the chat last week said, you just have to be prepared at all costs. And I believe that. I think that if you are a top dog and you let some no-name team take your spot, that's on you. That's not on that no-name team. So you should be out there practicing in your house or whatever and be like Steph and order a basketball hoop that you could barely put together so you can get, your reps in and do what you have to do. But I just don't think, I think there's always going to be that what if, like what could have happened when you have a season that was not finished, especially with the battle for LA. What could have happened with that? Could LeBron have gotten the chip? And to just take that away, I think that's a big question mark. On the flip side, I get it. If the Lakers didn't win, then it's going to be like, oh, but if they had kept the momentum and we didn't have this break because of the coronavirus, they probably could have kept that momentum going and they probably could have. There's going to be conjecture either way, but I think you just have to get back to basketball. I think you have to let these guys go out and battle it out because that's what they want to do. That's what we as the fans want to see. I get you're trying to be safe, but I mean, you can't be, we're not going to be 100% safe ever. So I just think you just get back to basketball. I'm surprised Shaq said this. I get what he's saying. And I understand why he's saying it, but I think as an organization, the NBA just really has to figure out a way to push forward.
So, okay, Britt, I know that you've been excited about how your Clippers are doing this year. It's been a big year for them. And if we did cancel the season altogether, it would be a huge disappointment. But can you see at all where Shaq is coming from? Is there any part of you that feels like he could be onto something?
Absolutely not. And the only reason why he's saying that is because he's no longer a player. Like, if he was still playing basketball, he would not have that same thought in his head. I don't believe that at all. Like, he's talking crazy right now. And I think that's silly to even say. There's not one player that I think you could name in the that would agree with his statement. Not one. You do what the players want, the fans want. Shaq, you just talk about sports now. So nobody really cares about your opinion in this situation. So I feel like if the players want to play, fans want to watch them play, and owners want to let them play, I think it should happen. Like, I don't think anything else should come in and try to act like, oh, well, let's just say no and not do it anymore. We're also talking about a league that, guess what? Teams have put together a team because they want to win right now. People have contracts expire, things change. You're going to tell me like a team spent so much money to bring a player here for like a year or two, and now they lose that year, and then they paid that person that money for a team that they thought could win right now, and now they don't get that opportunity to have that. That doesn't even make sense. So do now all the contracts get pushed back a year? Like, are they extend another year now because they didn't get that? Because literally teams set up, like the Raptors, for instance, last year, they set up that team to win that year. If they weren't going to win that year, they had a bunch of guys like Danny Green and Kawhi Leonard, who both did end up leave that team. Like that's the way the league is set up. They want to win championships right now. It's not like they're trying to build a team for the next 10 years or for 10 years down the road. They need a team right now, and they want to win right now. So that's how most teams are set up. So I think that's just silly to even assume that it would even work like on the business standpoint to cancel the season like that. Like all the teams that have players that are literally at the end of their contract are going to be so pissed off and trying to see if they can we break the rules and now extend stuff, or can we offer people another 1-year deal if they want to come back so we can try this all over again? That's just, it doesn't make any sense.
There would be a lot that's still up in the air if they did cancel the season, a lot of things that would have to like be answered and figured out. So it obviously would complicate things. Chris, I have to mention, I noticed that you were a little bit frozen there for a bit.
Yeah,
so
man.
how are you doing?
Traveling. I'm good. I'm back. I saw some things. I don't know what happened. My computer just shut down.
Oh, great. Well, we're glad that you're back. Just so you know, we were talking about the NBA and how Shaq says that we should just scrap the entire season. Right. Adam Silver is still pushing the 7-game playoff series. So do you have any thoughts that you want to drop, that you want to offer up about all of this? How do you feel about Adam pushing for that normal playoff series and Shaq saying that we should scrap the season?
I still feel like they said, we're still on the timetable where we can still try and push to hopefully have a regular playoff series. I understand where Shaq's coming from, but I don't feel like we need to get that drastic yet and blowing up the whole thing just yet. I do feel like we are drifting further away from having any season games played, which I'm not a fan of, but I mean, it kind of makes sense. But I don't know. I think Shaq is being a little hasty, thinking that it's time to just blow it all up and just call it a season. I don't know how anybody would feel with that. Just having that empty, no conclusion to what's going on with this past season, which was a pretty good season so far.
Yeah, I think Britt really hit the nail on the head there. Shaq is able to say those kinds of things because he's not playing. He doesn't really have anything on the line right now.
Exactly.
So for him to come forward and say, let's scrap
he should still remember how it feels to be a competitor and how much you want to win. And he should still be able to relate to that. I don't know why he would say this unless he's just like enjoying. Right. Like, I think he's just enjoying this cakewalk. That's what I'm saying. He's enjoying this cakewalk. He's enjoying the fact that Charles Barkley ain't all up in his face all the time. So he's like, I love this. No season. But no, it's selfish, Shaq. Shame on you.
Wow, Jackie, tell him. I love it. Well, you guys, that wraps up Need to Know News. So, Chris, if you're ready to take us into social, I want to know what happened on Instagram and TikTok and Twitter all weekend long.
Well, let's hope that I am ready, because Google just said, look, I'm putting you on timeout. And then I just saw the future. But I'm back now, and I'm back in town for Post Up with your boy, Chris, Quarantine Edition. Yes, like Devin said, we are diving into social media within the sports world, and starting off, we are talking about UFC 249 that happened over the weekend without a crowd, and it was all right. I didn't watch. I don't normally tend to watch unless I'm with the boys, but obviously because of coronavirus, that's not happening, and I didn't really get to watch on Saturday either. But I did hear that Greg Hardy, ex-NFL player, went out there and he got himself a W, but that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about Tony Ferguson losing damn near his entire eye socket. Now, we got a picture of it. It's pretty rough. Look at that. Okay, eye socket gone, but he's still looking crazy as ever, looking like he's ready to fight. Tony Ferguson to me is one of the craziest looking dudes, and I don't mean like as an insult. Just he looks like I would never want to fight him, because he looks like he'd be ready to tear you up. But he did lose that fight, and unfortunately, like I said, with that injury, looks like he lost pretty bad on his face. But Tony's not upset about it, because the following day, he's already ready to leave the hospital, and he's out there dancing in his hospital clothes with his little IV stand and everything. Look at him go, Look at him. No one can tell me that he lost his eye socket. No one can tell me he lost the fight either. Look at that. Trying to do a little spin with the. Look at that.
Yeah,
I'm just so scared. Yeah, he looks like he's in a good. I'm just, man, that Ivy scares the hell out of me. Though I'm just afraid that he gonna make one wrong move and that thing will pull out his arm. I don't like it, but yeah, but he's good. Everything's fine, and yeah, so it looks like he's gonna be discharged, or he was discharged right away after looking the way he looked. Moving on to my favorite. This is probably my favorite meme or post up of today. Okay, we had Mother's Day yesterday, and I'm not sure if this lady was anybody's mom. But I'll tell you what, he was making this boy yell mama after the crossover and layup that she gave to this young blood. Look at the video.
Buckets! Buckets! She got you buckets! She got you buckets! She got you buckets!
Give him the lefty. And that's me on the camera.
Oh my God.
If I see anybody else's mom do that to any of my boys, that is me on camera. I'm like, what you doing? You can't go, no. But here's the best part. The names that were dubbed to this lady, okay? The first tweet said, someone said that's Karen Durant. Now, y'all know the Karen memes. And they said that is Karen Durant. And I lost it when I saw that. And to continue that tweet, this one said, she doesn't need to see the manager. She is the manager. And Karen Durant. And last but not least, I love this one. This one said her name is Carol Baskets. We got Carol Baskets on the court. So I was like, yo, these were great.
Oh my God.
Oh my goodness. Karen Durant out there giving buckets. And like I said, I would not have held back on my boy either if that happened. Anyways, moving on to... We were talking about Pau Gasol earlier, and bringing on guys onto rosters, and blah blah blah. Well, in a lot of people's eyes, Jared Dudley fit that mold with the Lakers because everybody was scratching their head when they found out that the Lakers signed Jared Dudley as early as they signed Jared Dudley just to be on the bench, especially when there was names like, I don't know, Carmelo Anthony who was available. So ever since that signing for the Lakers, Jared Dudley has been trolled on the internet. Any opportunity that the internet trolls could give them, they have been trolling them. And today was no different, especially in the times we're going through. This tweet went up saying Jared Dudley on his knees begging the season comes back because he knows the Lakers aren't re-signing him. Ha 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 ha. Well, again, the crazy part is there was no at in this tweet. Okay, now Jared Dudley, I got to say, went on his Kevin Durant vibes a little bit because he responded to this tweet. No, there was no at, so he saw this and said, "You know what? My name's in it. I got a clap back," and it was a very formal clap back. He said, "I'm here for the betterment of the league and future generations of players. Long after I'm done playing, I will still be working in this league. No season means no revenue and new CBA. I never beg, brother, but let's just wait and see if you're right." Now, it's a good clap back because he's saying that, he's has a bigger role in the league right now than just being a hooper, and I get that, but it was I don't know how I feel about the clap back. I don't even know if I can give that clap back status. So, Jackie, seeing this clap back, especially in the way that he gave the clap back in a very Kevin Durant fashion, do you count that as a clap back, or that was just him responding because he didn't like the tweet that was said about him? I don't know.
That's a terrible clapback. It's terrible. It looked like his PR agent hacked his Twitter and responded for him. It was way too formal. There's no shade in it. Like, just don't say anything. He didn't even at you. And now you're like, well, deep down inside, I'm a good man and I'm going to be a good man after. Stop. Nobody cares. Right. This is a terrible clapback.
And hate aside, obviously I was one of the few that was really upset. Look, I'm a Carmelo Anthony fan. I thought it would have been dope to see Melo play with LeBron. So I was upset that the Lakers didn't even give Melo a chance. But in that same breath, Jared Dudley he's actually pretty good with his clapbacks. He's good at laughing at himself when tweets like this are up, or he's good at clapping back people. So I was a little disappointed in this one. It was very informal. I learned a lot. Good for you, man. Glad to hear that you're a part of everything going on with the league.
But to learn on claps. You're not supposed to learn.
That's not a clap.
Oh, that's what you're
exactly. But hey, Jared Dudley, dude.
It's a clap back. It's not even a clap back at all. It's just like a response.
Right.
Yeah, right. Just a formal response. Yeah, that's really what it was. But Jared Dudley doing Jared Dudley. But speaking of internet trolls, we have Tyler Hero, who has a new fresh haircut. And to be honest, look, man, I have no problem with the haircut, but the internet just love to find something wrong with anything and everything. So here's Tyler Hero's haircut over the weekend. The only problem I have is this man has the luxury, wrong picture. He has the luxury of getting his hair cut the way that he got his haircut. I don't know if we can get the big picture of Tyler Hero getting his haircut. I don't know if you can see him down there in the bottom left. Look, you see how that man, like in a full, like got gloves on, got the mask on, got a whole damn near ghetto hazmat suit going on, giving them a whole haircut. That's what I'm jealous about. But the haircut, I think, is fine. But as you can see by this tweet, there it is. That's what I'm looking like. That's dope. Like, it's cool setup. I just wish that my barber put the time to do something like that. He even got like the whole what's it called? The little smoke mat, whatever those things are called. You know what I'm talking about? That you see, he has it there just in case. Okay, Supreme Clippers, all that. But anyways, we can go back to that tweet. We have people out here bringing in relationships into the situation. We all know the situation between, Kyle Kuzma, Katya, blah, blah, blah. Well, this guy said Kyle Kuzma's hair when he was dating Katya Elise Henry versus Tyler Hero's hair when he is dating Katya Elise Henry. So does that mean that Katya brings out the whatever you want to call this cut out of the boy? Yeah, let's call it the braids. Yeah, the done up braids is what I'm gonna call it. I don't know. We gotta find a name for this new cut because it's looking like it's the craze right now, or maybe it's the Katya is what we should call this haircut. So, Devin, I wanna ask you first. Do you think this is just a bit of a coincidence that this is the haircut? Is this like Katya's stamp of I dated you when this haircut comes around? Like, what do you think about that?
I think it's pretty clear Katya encourages this hairstyle because it looks exactly the same. I feel like it almost looks like they did the same design and everything. So I think Katya pushes her guys to do this kind of hairstyle. Kind of weird.
So then the real question is, do we give Katya the L for Kuz going blonde because that happened after they broke up? Do you think that was his, like, I miss you so much, I don't know what to do, so I'm going to go blonde because I don't know what other hairstyles to do? I don't know. I don't know who to blame for that. I'm just trying to find someone to blame other than Kuzma because I feel like I blame Kuz for a lot of things. Moving on to Shaq. What were you say, Devin?
Oh. You know how when you go through a breakup, the first thing that you want to do is cut your hair? So I think that was just Kuzma, reacting to all of that. And it was a bad move. I'm glad that it's gone. But yeah, that was definitely him dealing with the heartbreak. Now let's move on, Chris.
Yes, I learned that from like all the pop movies that the minute, people broke up, they cut their hair. I didn't. When I broke up, my hair grew out and I had an afro. So I must have been doing that wrong. I didn't catch the movies the right way. But anyways, moving on to this next one. We have Shaq, who we talked about last week. Shaq gave us a crazy scenario of Team A and Team B, and he was asking who do you choose because he couldn't choose. Well, he kind of did something similar with this one when he dropped this really cool video of him and Kobe playing 1v1 during practice, and he literally just put out who you think won. And a lot of people put Kobe, and look, rest in peace, Kobe, but I gotta be real with you. I'm going with the D's on this one. I think, just seeing based off of that first move that Kobe could barely do over Shaq, and Shaq there not really struggling to score for Kobe. Look, rest in peace, Kobe, but I think Shaq won that 1v1. But Britt, you hear me going through puberty? Britt, damn it, I'm a man. Britt, all right. Who do you think won this 1v1 between Shaq and Kobe? I'm gonna talk like that for the rest of the show.
I mean, from what I saw, it did look like Shaq won for sure.
Right. Yeah, the chat obviously we were going with Kobe, and
you.
I get it. Yeah, I think Shaq's one with that one. All right, I'm going to bring it to my two Lakers. Let's start with you, Jackie. Who you got in this one? You think Kobe took Shaq in that 1v1? We just saw some of the Shaq highlights, or do you think Shaq took that one?
I think Kobe was playing around. He wasn't giving it his full effort, so Shaq probably would. That's what I think happened. Maybe Kobe let him win. I don't know.
And Devin, I need to know who you got. You think Shaq took that one, or you think Kobe was able to take that one off camera?
I think Shaq took that one too, but if Kobe was putting in full effort, would have been Kobe.
Oh boy, that's what we need. That's the what if we need to talk about. Maybe. All right, and last but not least, I know I mentioned them with Jared Dudley, but we're actually going to the social media. I can't even call him a social media guy. The social media, I got no words for you. Kevin Durant, okay? Kevin Durant was out here doing a favor for, in my opinion, the girlfriend of the year, okay? Now, we know it's tough times right now, and we saw a lot of these kids doing their graduations at home and stuff like that. Well, during this IG Live, this kid's girlfriend got Kevin Durant's attention to go over and say what's up and congratulate him as pretty much Kevin Durant was the kid's graduation gift. And I feel like that's a pretty dope gift. I mean, there's a lot of gifts, like there's flowers, there's all kinds of things, money, you know, blah, blah, blah. But to get Kevin Durant, it's pretty dope. In your IG live too, get some clout. That's pretty dope. But anyways, shout out to this girl to get Kevin Durant to join her boyfriend's live. And here's that video.
Hey, you got you a good one, boy. She love you. She hit me up like, please, can you hit my boyfriend up? I'm just showing love, man.
I appreciate
Congrats,
that.
bro. Congrats, bro.
I can't believe this, dude. That's wild, bro.
Congrats, brother. I appreciate all the love and support, man.
But yeah.
That's pretty dope. Look, and I think this is the positive of Kevin Durant being so social media aware, you know? Just like, you know, any other athlete, somebody's hitting them up, you hit them up enough times, sure, they might see it, but Kevin Durant's always looking, so it wasn't that hard to see this notification from the girlfriend and be like, yeah, I'll do that.
Chris, it was a girl, so he probably was looking because he thought he was going to get some action.
Don't do that.
He was checking because maybe she was cute, and then he realized, she ain't checking for me. She's actually trying to help her boyfriend out. So then he's like, I might as well because she already saw that I read it. So I think he was checking because he was trying to see if he could get
making
some
up
action.
for damn.
I don't even like Katie.
There you go.
Put that out. That's a child to him. I don't even like Katie, and you know I would love to throw him under the bus and back it up over him sometimes, but no, I'm not gonna say that he was checking for a child.
Didn't she graduate from college?
Yeah, I think so.
Graduation. Yeah, that's a college graduation.
I think it's college. Yeah, it's pretty sure it's college. Yeah. So they're of age. They're of age, Jackie. Yeah, Britt might be on to something, man. I'm telling you that fumble brain that Britt was talking about, it was rolling right there, and that might be the move right there. That might be the actual truth.
Yep.
Yeah. But anyways, yeah, Katie, dope moment. But that is the end of Post Up for me.
All right, Jackie, tell us, what is the weird stuff happening in the world from the weekend? Take us into WTF.
All right, so you guys, I think the Rams are about to learn the hard way that you cannot play with people's money, especially when you're talking about over $5 million, and they still have not paid Todd Gurley his money, and he went on Uninterrupted and a podcast called Uninterrupted, and he let people know, and he's mad. He don't want to talk to nobody from the Rams. He said, quote, "I still ain't got my money." So it's really forget the Rams right now. I told my ex-teammates that they can't even text me or call me until I get my money. As soon as I get my money, then I'll be cool with everybody else. And you know what? A friend of mine and I were talking about this, and he's like, oh, that's petty. You know, he should still reach out to his teammates and because they're friends. No. $5 million. I ain't got nothing to say to none of y'all because y'all still work for that organization. All of y'all are dead to me till I get my $5 million. I'm not mad at Todd Gurley for this. I know a lot of people are. But he also gave them a timeline, and I set my watch because I want to see what goes down. Because he went on to say they're probably using the COVID thing as an excuse, or probably they ain't got no money. They got that stadium they're building right now. All I know is come June 1st, I better have my money. And all I heard was that Rihanna song in my head. You better have my money. And I'm telling you, Stan Kroenke, you should watch that video because you're going to end up in the back of a trunk, just like in the video. But Chris, do you think that Todd Gurley is being petty right now? I don't. Do you?
Initially, I did. I was like, dang, you going to close out your boys because you ain't getting money? But you're right, man. Look, if that's what it takes, I'm going to try to get my money because those same boys are part of that organization. Could go in there and say something to anybody up in the organization on my behalf. So I get it. You're right. You know, for Rihanna, my money. Like, you got to go all in. I'm with it. You're right. You're right. Don't end up in Trump, bro. Yep.
And I drove past that stadium last night. Y'all got the lights on. Y'all paying high electric bills in the middle of a COVID. Y'all can pay that man his damn money. This is inappropriate. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. Britt, what were you going to say?
I didn't say anything. I think it was
Devin.
I'm agreeing with you. I don't understand why it's taking so long to get him his money. What's the holdup here? If he's owed that money, they just need to give it to him, and I hope that he does get it by that June 1st deadline.
Yeah, I would give it to him just so he shut up. Every time he does an interview, he's like, they ain't paid me my money. Like, I would just want him to just say less. let me give this man his money so he can be quiet.
Yeah.
I mean, even if I'm Stan, I have it in my back pocket. I'll just pay him out of my own money. I'll have my team reimburse me later, but let me just shut this man up because this is getting ridiculous. But now, go ahead, Britt.
Oh, I just want to know, what the hell is his agent doing? Like, why doesn't he have the money? And obviously that's the responsibility of his agent. Like, why are you paying your agent and your agent hasn't made sure you got your money yet? I just don't understand that. It makes no sense to me that Todd, he shouldn't be saying anything about it. We shouldn't even hear about it. Like, we should hear his agent saying stuff about it. His agent should be going on TV talking about it, not him, and then telling the details of, like, listen, I did this, and the third. They haven't came back with this answer yet, and blah, 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 because they know the business side of it. So his agent should be speaking out about it. Like, this is so weird to
and
me.
it was like 2 weeks ago, I saw a statement from the Rams, and they basically said, this is like the statement that people make who owe you money. He was like, we know we owe him money. We have a certain amount of time to get it to him. We're going to wait until the end of that time frame to pay him his money. That is the definition of, you ain't got no money. You don't wait that long to pay this man money, because that's not typical. Usually when a team is done with you, they want to just sever all ties, dot all the I's, cross all the T's, and then let you move on. So this is not typical. It's weird.
Right. And it's
weird to me.
like, they have all these new draft picks that they're going to start having to pay and stuff like that. And I'm like, you don't even, you got to pay the other guy before you pay the new guys. That's all I'm saying.
Right. Yep. Rams, do better. At least turn the lights off in the stadium so you ain't racking up that electricity bill. So at least look a little better. All right, but so now we have somebody that really wants to get into the Hall of Fame, the NBA Hall of Fame. He thinks he should be. So let's talk about Shawn Marion. Now, it's not a name you hear a lot, but he did play 16 seasons in the NBA, 9 with the Suns, 5 with the Dallas Mavericks, and then he bounced around from the Heat, Cavs, and then his last spot was with the Raptors. And then he retired in the 2014-2015 season. He had a decent career. His best season, he averaged 21 points, 11.8 rebounds, 1.8 assists, and 2 steals. He did win the title with the Mavericks in 2011, and he's a 4-time NBA All-Star. That, to me, is a solid career for a supporting cast member. That is not a star Hall of Fame type of career. It's nothing to be mad at, but it's not a Hall of Fame type of career to me. But he says, I am wrong. And he told The Athletic, he says, I think my presence was felt. And he says that it's political. And then we've seen people, he says his presence was felt. He had a solid impact in the league. And the only reason he's not making it into the league is because it's, political. I think it is political, because we've definitely seen people who should have been first ballot who didn't get in because, people felt some type of way about their personally. So I get that it is a little political, but I just don't think he has a career that warrants even thinking that you should go into the Hall of Fame. It's kind of weird to me. Britt, what do you think?
So I remember him very well as a player. I actually really liked him as a player, but I would agree that I don't think that he is necessarily a Hall of Fame player. Obviously, playing 16 seasons is amazing in and of itself,
right?
But it's what you do during that time that matters, not how long the time is. Like, I think that's the huge difference here, and I think that's probably what he's missing. Because obviously, there's probably guys that maybe played 9 seasons in the league, but maybe they were 8-time All-Stars or whatever, or you know what I mean? Like, I feel like that's more impactful than just playing for 16 seasons. Obviously, for your wallet, it is great that you played 16 seasons. I remember him very, very well as a player. He was one of my favorites at the time, but he wasn't that guy. That's like even saying a guy like Lou Williams, everybody knows his name. He's one of the greatest 6 men of the year. Do I think he's ever going to be in the Hall of Fame? No. And that's not saying anything against him. He's a great player. A lot of people will remember him. He played, Jamal Crawford played in the league for a million years. But he's not a guy that you're ever going to see in the Hall of Fame. And that's just the way it is. If everybody could get into the Hall of Fame, it wouldn't be the Hall of Fame. You can't let everybody get, to that position, because then it starts kind of deteriorating what it means to be in the Hall of Fame. Like, literally, it should be only, like, obviously we know it's political because we've seen guys like Terrell Owens, who should have been a first ballot guy, like get pushed back because people didn't like him or thought he had an attitude or whatever. That should have nothing to do with what he did on the football field. Now he is in the Hall of Fame. We saw him get there, but it took a little bit. Like people were so confused about that. And we all understand it is political in that aspect, but politics aside, you wouldn't be in the Hall of Fame either way, Sean. Love you as a player though, but he's not a Hall of Fame guy.
I mean, I agree. I think he's a great supporting cast member, but I think and I'm a big fan of toot your own horn, because if you're not going to toot it, nobody else will. So I'm not mad at him for the thought process in that aspect. But I think at some point you got to take a step back and you got to look at the people who are in the Hall of Fame who went before you and then ask, do you measure up? Like, are you on this list? Were you that guy? And I just don't think, I don't know how he arrived here. Chris, do you think that this is something that's like it's cool for him to say, or you think he's smoking something? How do you think he ended up here?
You beat me to it. I literally think he just said this to really put the thought in people's head, like, oh, Sean Marion, that's right, he played. That's the only reason why he said anything. I don't see how we could believe he really thinks he's a Hall of Famer, especially as of right now, before a lot of these other people that have not been named to Hall of Famers to the Hall of Fame that should be in the Hall of Fame. I'll tell you what, he has a Hall of Fame nickname, the Matrix. That's a dope nickname.
Yes.
I don't know if I'm putting him in the Hall of Fame after, his career was good, but it wasn't anything great. I mean, probably to me, and he had a lot of good seasons with the Suns, but to me, his highlight was being a part of a team that beat the Heatles. But that wasn't even primarily him.
Yeah.
I want
to. All right.
Oh, sorry. I want to ask the chat because I saw a couple of people in here who think he does deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. So I want to ask the chat, if you guys think he does deserve to be in the Hall of Fame, put that trophy emoji in there. I just want to get a good feeling of who feels that way. I think you guys will be outnumbered by the people who don't think he necessarily deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. But I just wanted to throw that out there before we move in to our next segment. Jackie, was there anything else that you wanted to add?
No, look, if y'all think he belong in the Hall of Fame, y'all better not say nothing but yes, go ahead, LeBron. As soon as I don't want to hear no flashback, no static, because no, we're not trying to hear none of that. So make sure you put the GOAT emoji in there too, to say that LeBron James should be first ballot to the Hall of Fame, which he will be. But I just want to make sure that you guys, your heads are clear, because I'm confused as to what you're thinking right now.
So I'll put my GOAT emoji in there real quick.
Okay, there you go. Thank you. That's all I got though. So now, Chris, are you ready for the vocal? Got to let Chris warm up his vocals.
Yep.
Okay. There you go, guys. Now it's time for Brit's Takes.
Brit's Takes.
I didn't feel the energy in that one, but it's fine. I'll just move on.
I was afraid my voice was going to squeak again. I'm going to be real with you, okay? I'm sorry.
There is only maybe one or two trophies that I see in here, so I just want to put out there that people don't believe that. I don't believe in participation trophies. Just because you participated, Sean, does not mean that you deserve to be in the Hall of Fame, but that is a whole nother topic. Again, we are going into another situation where somebody feels like they didn't do any work, but they still feel like they should reap all the benefits of it. And that is Zion's former agent, Gina Ford. Now, she actually was sued by Zion in June of 2019, right when Zion was getting ready to get drafted, because he had to sue her in order to terminate his marketing deal with her company, Prime Sports. She basically came back in that same time frame and said that he actually breached their 5-year contract together. He ended up going with a different agent, a whole different thing. So she hasn't been a part of his career basically since he's been able to make money, legally make money apparently. So you can go and read verbatim, because she has this whole list of exactly what she's now coming out. This last week she just came out and said that she wants Zion to admit a whole bunch of stuff that happened, but to just shorten it up for you guys again could go online and just look at this yourself. But she basically is now asking him to admit on record, under oath, that basically himself and his mother received gifts, money, and all this kind of stuff, things of value, whatever the case is, before going to Duke, by Duke, and by an official NCAA agent in order to get him to play at Duke, as well as receiving money and items and stuff from both Nike and Adidas dating back to as early as 2014. Now, why she's doing this is because this is currently a civil case here. And so they basically do this in order to use it as a discovery tool to force another party to admit things under oath, because then that ends up benefiting them. So she is basically requesting that he goes under oath and has to admit to these things. I do actually want to mention, I think it's kind of funny because obviously we know he went to Duke, and I went to her website, the Prime Sports website, and this is a huge, huge marketing agency. They actually did Super Bowl Live this year. They've done the Daytona 500 a bunch of times, but under one of the schools that they are actually marketing partners with is UNC Tar Heels. So I think it's very funny, obviously, being that he went to Duke. So there's no better way to diss Duke than to, put a scandal right underneath them. And that's what she's doing a very good job of right now. Obviously, UNC had some issues back in the day when former player Rashad McCants came out and said that he received money and got, grades fixed for him and all that stuff in order for him to play there. UNC actually got in trouble. They weren't able to participate in March Madness and stuff like that for a few years. We all know USC had the same situation with Reggie Bush, and Reggie Bush was already in the league at the time. Heisman Trophy, that spot is still considered vacant right now. And I'm sorry, I'm coming up frozen. Am I frozen to you guys, or can you see me?
We can still hear you, but you were frozen a little bit.
Okay. Okay. As long as you guys can still hear me. Sorry if I'm making a weird face being frozen. But same thing with Reggie Bush. All he had to personally give up was the Heisman Trophy. But the school couldn't participate. They had to pause on their recruiting, all this kind of stuff. So really, the schools are the ones that end up taking the biggest negative part of this. The athletes don't. This all escalated kind of very quickly, obviously, because the lawsuit is actually at $100 million right now. So if she is not successful in winning this, it's going to be a lot of big trouble for her. But I think, like this guy Des Bryant, I don't know if you guys know who Des Bryant is, but like Des Bryant said in a tweet, I kind of was like, oh my gosh, he's so right, because he actually tweeted, if we can throw up that tweet. If we don't have it, that's fine. But he said Zion's ex-agent Gina Ford has to know a big recruit will never look her way again. Her best bet is to find another career. Whatever happens to Zion shall pass. Zion's a legend in the making. So unfortunately, I think that he is right in this situation. I am sad about it because I love to see, women as sports agents and in this field or whatever, because I think it's great. The more women we see, the better it's going to be. It's awesome. And this is going to have to be how it turns out for her. But I think nobody's going to go play or sign with her now because of this situation. Even though I honestly believe Zion is wrong. Like, if she has information, she has actual contracts signed by you saying that you were going to do a deal with her. And you're a big boy now, honey. That's the business. You can't go back on the contract right before the NFL or the NBA draft happens and sign with somebody else. Like, you do owe her what she says you owe her, unfortunately. And we are literally living in this world where we just kind of see the athlete side and we're like, oh, look at this woman taking advantage of Zion. And now she's trying to say that his family and whatever took money and took whatever the case is. Honestly, she's doing what she has to do at this point. She literally has to do that in order to win her case. So I feel bad that she has to do that, because now I think Des Bryant is correct. She will not work in the business as necessarily an agent anymore, but she does, like I said, her marketing company reps a lot of huge, big organizations and big events. So I think they'll be okay. But as far as her being an agent, I agree. Nobody's going to sign with her ever again. Not any big athletes at this point. It sucks because even though Zion was in the wrong, and I believe Zion's in the wrong, and I'm going to say that on camera, Zion is wrong for this, but she's the one that's going to have to suffer and pay the consequences, because just like I said with Reggie Bush, him losing the Heisman, he also is still the third highest paid running back in NFL history. So that never affected his life at all. Like, yeah, on his Wikipedia now, it doesn't say he's a Heisman Trophy winner, but everybody knows he won the Heisman. He got to have that moment of experiencing Heisman. So I want to go to you, Jackie, and say, do you think other athletes will sign with her in the future? Do you think this is fair that this is happening to her? Is her career basically over now when it comes to being a sports agent?
So, it's funny because I thought the exact same thing Des said. My first thought was like, dang, snitches get stitches. She out here telling on people. Like, I would never work with this woman, but at the same time, I totally agree with what you're saying. Like, she's in a position now where she's trying to win this lawsuit. I do feel that since, Zion, and I get it, she's seeing the money that she could have possibly won and or earned, being Zion's agent. So yeah, he's definitely in breach of contract, but I feel like there's a different route to go. Like, you could settle this lawsuit for, yes, Zion should pay her some money, but let's settle this for a more reasonable amount, get this over with, get this behind you so that your name is not tied to something that's negative with the biggest one, who's going to be one of the biggest stars in basketball. I just think that since you're in marketing, figure out how to market this in a way that you can make it go away, but at the same time, this is a shade route, and people aren't going to say, oh, you know what, Zion put her in this bad position, she's doing what she has to do. People are going to say, oh, I would never work with her because she's going to put all my business out there, because whatever happened, she probably kind of knew about it in the first place. So if you was cool to move on with him, then don't put this dirt out now. So even if Zion took all these gifts and did all this wrongdoing, he doesn't look bad. It's her that looks bad now. So I would have tried to figure out a way to, hey, let's settle this lawsuit for $25 million or something, a little bit more reasonable, so I can get it off my table and get back to repping some other athletes and make it more an ironclad, contract that you can't even, we're not going to court. You owe me this money, period, kind of thing, So I don't know. It's I agree with you because, this is such a hard field for women to be in. And technically, this is kind of a stereotypical girly way to handle this. Like, it's not going the way you want. So you're just like, ooh, I'm going to put this, it's just a bad look all the way around how she handled it. And it sucks because she's technically, like you said, I don't know if she's in the right for 100 million, but breach of contract is breach of contract. I said the same thing about Aisha Curry. Like, yeah, look, you're at this status now, but you can't just negate a contract. That's why you have contracts. You know what I mean? So it's unfortunate, and I feel bad for her, but not that bad because you shouldn't have put this out there.
I mean, I personally don't care because it's Duke and I am a UNC Tar Heel and I hate Duke. So yeah, let's get them in trouble. Let's make sure they can't compete because we all know this happens in college sports all the time. That's why we're trying to make laws now so these players can actually get money from it. Chris, I kind of want to ask you a question really quick to kind of piggyback off what Jackie was saying a bit because she is in marketing. I feel like, do you think she's literally seriously trying to take, because she put this, the original case started in June of 2019, and that is him that started it. I want to point that out. He started it in order to, he had to technically sue her in order to pretend like he was getting out of his contract. But it was just this past Friday that she kind of put, let's put him under oath. So I'm assuming they've been maybe back and forth and negotiate stuff, and he hasn't went to her side at all or agreed to anything at all. Do you think she used this as just a tactic? Do you think she used it as a simple tactic just to finally get Zion to be like, listen, bro, this is serious. You need to pay me some money. And do you think this will maybe put an end to that? And if it does, if they don't actually have Zion go to a place where he has to now go on under oath saying that he took money from Nike, Adidas, and Duke or whatever while he was playing there and before he was playing there, do you think that could save her career? Do you think she's just using this to let him know she's serious about her money, and then maybe they'll settle outside of court at this time now that she's telling him he has to go under oath?
Yeah, 100% think it was a tactic. Because yeah, like you said, that they were trying to handle those things ever since 2019, ever since last year, started by Zion. Everything you said, 100%. But I just don't know if that is the right way to make that tactic because unfortunately, like, and I hate it, but it's unfortunate the way that, like what Jackie just said, it's going to be viewed differently because she's a female, and because then it's going to turn into this whole, that's how she's going to handle business, and other clients are going to be a little skeptical to even go to her, even if it ends up working in her favor. And I that's the part I feel like is wrong of all this. Like, yeah, I feel like everybody here in this situation is in the wrong, primarily Zion, to be completely honest. But at the same time, it's going to be just knowing sports and knowing how we want to be as progressive as we say we are, and I don't really believe that we are yet, especially when it comes to the bigger heads and the people upstairs. I unfortunately feel like that this tactic is going to end up biting her in the butt long term, whether it goes her way or not. And I feel like that's just the unfortunate part of taking this route. But I feel like she had to. I feel like she honestly had to. Because I don't think anything was going to be solved either way if she didn't go this route and be public with it, because that's just the way that it was going to get figured out. But because Zion, doesn't matter what the situation is, doesn't matter if he's wrong, people are going to take Zion's side regardless.
Yeah, because he's an athlete, and he's like, oh, this. We always think, oh, the NCAA, the poor athletes are the ones, like, all the time. They needed the money, or they whatever. So that's just going to be the storyline. And for Zion, he kind of was running with that. He's going to, like, take the victim side of it the whole time, and I don't think he's the victim in this situation. And it's unfair. It's sad, but Zion, honey, pay this woman some money, because she deserves some money. She was, had a contract, you a 5-year contract. She has proof of all that information. You, days before the draft, decide to take away your contract with her and sign with somebody else. Like, no, that is not okay. You're a grown-up now, so you need to handle your business as an adult, because now this is also going to go, I think, and it should bite him in the butt a little bit when it comes to other companies or other opportunities where people would want to work with him, because he's over here breaching contracts, like huge contracts like that, and then not wanting to pay people even whatever. It doesn't, obviously she's saying 100 million because you go in high and then hope to come in somewhere down here. But like, pay the woman back some money, please. Like, and let's just let this be over with, because this is so silly. And it's, I hate to say it's immature because I'm talking about a 19-year-old, but it's immature. Grow up, Zion.
Plus, he's such a likable guy too. So I think if it was an athlete that none of us really liked, we'd be like, oh, he out here doing the most, and the court of public opinion would come against him a little bit more, and then her case would be a little bit different, because now people are like, especially when you're hated, you're just hated. So he's such a likable guy, and so everyone is on his side. I actually don't think it's gonna really impact other sponsors working with him, because they're going to chalk it up to, oh, he was just a kid, he made a mistake, you know what I mean? And once the bigger his name get, nobody don't care that he breached that contract. They just go write a better contract, you know what I mean? So it's just, he's going to win. He's going to come out of this the winner no matter what, even if he has to pay her, which again, I think he should. I saw someone in the chat say that they thought 25 million was too much. I mean, I don't think it is when you're looking at the grand scheme of thing and how much money she would have made in 5 years, working with Zion. I think 25 million is fair. But she's going to need that money too, because like I said, I just don't see anybody working with her.
All right. Well, Zion, hopefully he pays that woman. Hopefully Todd gets paid. Lots of money talk in today's show. But I want to go back to what Chris mentioned in the post-up about Katie FaceTiming that college graduate. I wanted to ask you guys this at the time, but then I just got carried away with our conversation. Who is one athlete that you wish you could FaceTime? Let's just go in order. So, Chris, I'm going to start with you. Like, who would be the most
first? Damn. Well, man, that's I my favorite player is Tracy McGrady, but I think I would want to talk to Carmelo Anthony just because of everything he went through, and then now where he's at, and he actually was playing at a high level, or at a good level. I won't say high level. So I think Carmelo Anthony would be somebody I would be very interested to talk about, especially with the Knicks stuff too. So I'll go Melo.
Okay, Melo. So Jackie, LeBron, or is it going to be anybody else? Love it. Okay, good. Now, I have a feeling I know who you're going to say, but who do you wish you could FaceTime with?
I have two people. I would say Michael Jordan, just because I feel like he's petty. I'm petty. I think it would be great. I think I would actually have three people. I would love to talk to Dennis Rodman too, and then I would love to talk to Primetime, Deion Sanders.
Ooh, yeah. That
I mean, if we can pick more than one, then I would love.
Conversations would be good. Yeah.
I would talk to Manning. Peyton Manning's like my favorite quarterback of all time, so I would love to talk to him and just see how he came back and even had the courage to go up back and play when your neck broke. Like, that's a level of courage that I just don't think I would ever have.
So
you guys can talk about State Farm or whatever the hell he's a part of. So, what do you think about my car insurance? Can you give me a
I want to talk to Kuzma so I can give him a little lesson on what not to post on social media and what not to do with his hair. We've been wanting to kind of speak to him face to face, give him some lessons. So I think I'd like to be that person. I would take that opportunity. So that's who I would FaceTime with.
He actually was supposed to do an interview with me with the Fumble like a year and a half ago, and we showed up to the facility, his practice facility, and he decided and he didn't want to do it. So I have nothing to say. Yeah.
Oh God.
Sitting there waiting for him, and he decided not to do it.
Acting real light skin. Light skin.
Well, I love you guys. Subscribe to the Fumble. Give this video a thumbs up if you think Kuz should have showed up to our interview or Britt's interview with him a year and a half ago. Let us know who you would like to FaceTime with in the comments. I want to know all the athletes you guys would wish to talk to. And we'll see you guys tomorrow, 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time for another live. We'll see you later. Wash your hands. Bye.